Hello everyone and welcome back to Carrie's Beauty Corner. This is Tutorials Week, Day 2. And today we're going to be addressing the bags under our eyes. I don't necessarily have bags as much as I have dark circles that need to be corrected and concealed. So if you want to see what I do with my under eyes, come on back. Okay, off camera, I went ahead, I applied my primer. Today I used the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Primer. I applied my foundation, which I used the L'Oreal Age Perfect Serum Foundation, which is beautiful on mature skin. I really, I'm growing more and more fond of that every time I use it. Now, today's tutorial mostly is going to be about trying to correct and conceal the dark circles. Some people are very blessed. They don't have them. Some people have more bags, puffiness than darkness. And then some of us have just deep, dark holes of black, which is what I have. So, what I have found, and believe me when I tell you I have tried many concealers, I have tried many tips, I have tried many tricks, and some work, some don't, but the little routine that I have now is what is working best for me. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to go in with a color corrector. When you have dark circles, you need something kind of a peachy color to cancel out that darkness. Now this one is from NYX. It's a dark spot corrector, but I don't really find that it works as well for me as the LA Girl Pro Concealer. Now this is the correcting color, the peach correcting color, and it comes in a little squeezy tube, and you do have to squeeze and look for the product. And when the product starts coming out, I go in, it has a little brush tip, and I go in and I start applying it directly in to this dark crevice here, and then I take it, you can almost see, it just almost forms a semicircle around my eye, and I just go in and I put a generous amount. You don't want to put too much unless you want cakey under eyes, but I do put enough to cancel that out. The next thing I do is I let it sit for a minute. Sometimes I go ahead and do my eyebrows, which I've already done. But there are different kinds of concealer brushes that you can go in and kind of spread your product around. There's something like this. There's little flat ones like these, but I kind of like this little fluffy one right here, and this is the one that I'm going to go in with, and I'm just going to spread the product where I need it to be, not worried about blending it in, just really kind of worrying right now about putting it where we want it. Okay, and I don't know if you can see, but it is canceling it out. Not completely. I'm 56 years old. I have fibromyalgia. I have hereditary dark circles. So we're not talking about miracles here, but we are talking about it being better than what you started with. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm just gently going in and I'm tapping that product in. And I'm using my ring finger and I'm just going in and just lightly tapping that product in. Before I go in with my concealer, the first thing I want is to let this dry down. I want this to set, because if I don't and I go in and I put my concealer on top of it, all that's going to do is mix with this and it's not going to work. Now, while this is sitting, I've got several choices of concealers that I find more medium to full coverage concealers, but they're not the kind of concealer that it's so full coverage that it's going to leave you cakey. This is the Revlon Candid, and I'm gonna have to put my glasses on and let you know what shade I'm in. This is the shade 10, Vanilla. And I have really enjoyed this concealer. It's not really marketed as a hydrating concealer, but I do find that it doesn't dry me out. Now, as far as hydrating concealers go, there is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Hydrate. There is the wonderful e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. And then there's also the L'Oreal Age Perfect. This is the concealer that goes with the Age Perfect Serum Foundation that I used. Now, I have this in the wrong color to get the brightness. I'm not seeing my color on here, but it's just called the Radiant Concealer. Oh, I'm sorry, it's the shade 200, and it's a little warmer than I like. I do like to use concealer that's a couple of shades lighter than my skin tone to add that brightness. But what I like to do with my concealer, I like to go in and I'm going to dot some here. I'm gonna dot some here, and then I'm going to take this just like this right here. Okay, I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other eye. Dot here, and spread that right there. Again, I'm going to let it sit for just a few minutes before I start the blending process. I'm going to use that same brush, and I'm going to go in and I'm just going to spread the product where I want before I start tapping it in. About 60 seconds is really all you need, about a minute. And then I like to go in and I'm just going to kind of just lightly. I'm not going to rub it. I'm not going to pull my brush and take the product that's underneath it. I'm just going to tap it and kind of spread. And I don't know if you can see what this concealer right here is doing, but when you put that line there and then you tap it out, you're actually lifting that eye up. You're lifting, the eye is being drawn up this way, like the arch of your eyebrow, this little concealer trick, anything to lead the eye upward, because our eyes, when they get in their 50s, they're automatically a little more turned down, a little more, you start developing a little bit more of that hood. Okay, now that this is set, I've spread it where I want it. I'm going to go in with my beauty blender. This is actually the e.l.f. sponge, and it has quickly become my favorite sponge. And I'm just gonna go in and I'm going to tap the product and just make sure that the product is tapped in. Okay, now here's the next trick. It's one I recently learned. I didn't come up with it. I can't take credit for it. But what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna take a setting spray. Now, this one is the Natural Finish from Wet n Wild. I also have one by NYX. It's just kind of a multitasking spray. I have a hydrating one from Catrice. It's a dewy setting spray. Now, I wouldn't do the dewy. I think you need to do more of a matte finish on the eyes. But let me tell you, there's different ways that you can do this. You can take your setting spray, you can spray it right here on your finger, then you can take it right here under the eye on top of that concealer and just tap. Just tap, tap, tap until it's dry. You can do it that way, or you can actually take the point of your beauty sponge, put it on the point of your beauty sponge and tap it in that way. But either way, whatever this does, setting that concealer right there before you set it with a powder smooths the surface out. It keeps it from looking cakey, and it really seems to help with the coverage. It helps tremendously with the coverage. So I don't know if you can tell the difference. Anyway, the next step is going in with a powder. Now I've got several powders to choose from, which I find are really nice under the eye. This is an oldie but a goodie. This is the Ben Nye Cameo powder. Any kind of a banana powder, any kind of a powder with some yellow in it. This one from e.l.f. is specifically for the under eye, and I don't know if you can see, it has kind of an orange yellow tone to it, which is also going to help cancel out that darkness. This is a really nice one from Tarte. It's called the Smooth Operator, and it's perfect for under eyes. And then there's a powder that I've had in my collection for a really long time that I never hear anyone talk about, and I think this is a terrific powder, not only to set the under eye, but this is a wonderful all over the face. This is the L'Oreal Hydra Perfect Perfecting Loose Powder. This powder feels, doesn't have, you know, the packaging is old school packaging, but this powder has a delicious cooling effect, and it is one of the thinnest, I shouldn't say thinnest, I should say finest setting powders, and it works amazing on your under eye. You just are gonna take a fluffy brush and you're just gonna go in and set that under eye. And it is a beautiful finish. I love this powder. And I don't know that I've ever heard anyone else talk about this powder. And I think that it's terrific. Okay. Eyes are as concealed as they're going to get. I'm gonna hop off camera and finish out my makeup and come back and we'll talk a little bit about what we've done today. All right, I'm gonna wrap up today. Now that I'm looking at these dark circles, it doesn't really look like I did a whole lot, but it's better than what we started with. And on Friday, I'm going to wrap up with my nighttime skincare routine. So I hope you'll stick with me. I hope you're having a terrific week. As always, enjoy the rest of your day, and God bless you.